What's up, YouTube? Chris with Casual Yu-Gi-Oh! Coming at you guys with my Ancient Gear deck profile for August of 2018. Uh, I've always loved Ancient Gear since Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I thought they were always a cool archetype. Sadly they just never had enough support to be a fully functioning deck until a year and a half ago with the Ancient Gear structure deck. I really enjoy this deck. There's a few different ways you can play the deck. I play the fusion build for sure. There's a build where you're just trying to pop stuff to summon out big beaters, but the fusion build is the one I enjoy more. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Um, I play 3 Ancient Gear Golems. So Ancient Gear Golem, some people may be looking at this like, dude, why the hell are you playing 3 of them? Your best fusion monsters require Ancient Gear Golem, and you're only really using him to fuse with. He's he like I said, I mean, like, he's just fusion fodder. You have some ways to get him out with like the fusions. There's one of them that if he's destroyed, you can just summon him back out. To remind people, Ancient Gear Golem can't be special summoned, but you have cards that can get around that. He has piercing. He's just, I don't know, like, I feel like you have to have him at 3 because this build just fuses like crazy and you really need him in your hand. So I play 3 of him. He's the signature card of Ancient Gears. I feel like it's cool if you can play 3. Next, I play 3 Ancient Gear Wyvern. Wyvern can search out any Ancient Gear card that you want from your deck and add to your hand. Uh, the cool part about it is it says card, not an Ancient Gear monster, so there's a few spell or traps you can search out that are really nice. And then the only other thing about it, I believe, is you can't set spells or traps the turn you summon them or after you summon them. So that's why, like, there's a trap card for Ancient Gears, Ancient Gear Reborn, something like that. Don't play that card. That card is trash. Does he have another effect? I feel like if he's blown up, he does something. No, maybe I'm wrong. If he attacks, your opponent can't activate any card effects. So that's it for him. Next, I play 3 Ancient Gear Frame. Ancient Gear Frame came out earlier this year. And while I don't love this card, I feel like you need to run it at 3. That's just kind of how... That's kind of where the deck is at this point, where Ancient Gears are in support. This card's not perfect, but I think you need a 3, mainly because of its stat line. It has 500 defense, which is important because it's searchable off Ancient Gear Box. If anyone doesn't know, Ancient Gear Box, a card I'll show here in a little bit, if it's... What is it? If it's added from your deck to your hand, you can add an Ancient Gear card that has an Ancient Gear monster that has either 500 attack or 500 defense. So that's kind of why they give him these stat lines, and that's kind of why you need it. But basically what he does is you discard a card out of your hand and either search an Ancient Gear Golem, or you add a spell or trap that lists Ancient Gear Golem in its text. And the main one you're searching with that is this one, Ancient Gear Fusion. This is the only Ancient Gear... well, it's not the only Ancient Gear spell or trap we're running, but it's the main one that you'd be searching off of. But yeah, basically, that's all Ancient Gear Frame is used for. He has an effect that if he's destroyed by a card effect, you special summon Ancient Gear Golems from your hand, as many as you have. That's, like, never going to happen. It is an extra incentive to play Ancient Gear Golem, but that's, like, never going to happen. Real quick, I haven't used this deck in a hot minute. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. If it attacks, your opponent can activate spells or traps until the end of the damage step. That's pretty much it. But yeah, he's basically just to kind of get your fusion plays rolling, and he's searchable. Speaking of getting your fusion plays going, Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. This card, complete godsend for the deck. The deck needed this. So basically, if he's normal summoned, you burn your opponent for 600 damage. That's not optional. Sometimes that can get you in trouble because if your opponent has like a Solemn Strike or something like that, and you need your fusions to go off, you have to summon this card, and then you do the effect to burn for 600, then they just strike it, so you don't get a chance to fuse. So basically, he can just, once per turn, you can just fusion summon an Ancient Gear monster, Ancient Gear Fusion monster, by just using materials from your hand or field, including himself. You don't have to use himself, but if you want to, you can. So he's always just kind of like he counts as a polymerization and a polymerization like material, fusion material. So he's 2/3 of the puzzle by himself. So that's really great. I use him so much. I just don't get the other build that doesn't use him because they're not trying to fuse. I don't really understand it, but he's a great card. I wish they would haul this out. That would be nice. Next, I play 3 Ancient Gear Gadget. So once again, the main reason he's in there is because of the stat line, 500 attack, so he's searchable. And remember that most of the Ancient Gears you're playing are probably just going to be fused. So they really don't matter that much by themselves. Another thing about him, the other main reason I'm using him is because he counts as a gadget monster, and because I'm playing silver and gold gadget in here, if they leave the field, you can just summon a gadget from your deck. He counts as one, so he can kind of just wall up and kind of protect your life points, absorbing another attack. That's basically all he's in there for. Rank 4 plays, that's another thing. He's a level 4 monster. Same with Ancient Gear Frame, level 4 monster, kind of helps with some of your plays. For the 2 ofs, I play 2 Ancient Gear Reactor Dragons. So this card is a really good card. You just don't play it at 3 because you really don't have a good way of getting it out of your hand. So basically, I hope to not draw this card, and then if I can manage to pop my field spell with a certain card, I can just summon this out. You can summon them both out at the same time using that combo and then go into a rank 9 play. Basically, if he attacks, your opponent can't activate spells or traps, and monster effects can't be activated. And then after he attacks, you can pop a spell with a trap on the field. That's basically all he's doing. So he's a really good card. I'm happy that they gave him, they came out with him. The problem is, he kind of is a separate part of the deck as opposed to the fusing. The fusing and him are 2 separate play styles. I kind of merged them together, but they're not the easiest things to work together. But yeah, he's good as a 2 of. I don't think you'd want to play 3. 1, you don't get to go in your rank 9 plays if you only play 1. Next, I play 2 Ancient Gear Box. I used to play 3 of this card because I was also playing Machine Duplication, but honestly, I think 2 is way better. Basically, you can just add this off of a certain card that adds Ancient Gear. Like if you want to do Ancient Gear Wyvern, just search this, and this could add any other Ancient Gear with a stat line of 500 attack or 500 defense. And once again, if he's in your hand, you could possibly special summon him and go into a rank 4 play. It's the only reason he's in there, and he's an Ancient Gear, so fusion fodder. It's the main reason he's in there. 1 gold gadget, 1 silver gadget. What these do when you when they're summoned, period, you can just special summon a level 4 machine from your deck to from your hand to the field. So you have Ancient Gear Box in there, Ancient Gear Frame, Ancient Gear Wyvern, and Ancient Gear Gadget. So you got plenty of options for that. And like I said, they're great. If they're destroyed, is it period? Or destroyed by battle of card effects, especially on a gadget from your deck. So a lot of times what you could do is possibly gold gadget. If he gets killed, summon out silver gadget from your deck. Silver gadget has its effect, and then once that gets killed, you summon more. So I only play 1 of each. I mean, you could bump these to 2 of each if you really wanted to, if you find the room. Next, moving on to the spells, I play triple Gear Town. You can't really run the deck like you need to without Gear Town. Gear Town is a pretty good field spell. You can normal summon Ancient Gears for 1 less tribute than they require. That's never going to happen because you don't play any of the levels that match up with that. If they made an Ancient Gear monster that was level 5 or 6 that actually was worth a damn, that would be nice, but they haven't really done that yet. I used to love Ancient Gear Engineer. Ancient Gear Beast was okay, but they're not really practical in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't really work. So, and then Gear Town, if it's destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon an Ancient Gear from your deck, Ancient Gear monster from your deck, hand, deck, or graveyard. So, the only card you can't get out with this is Ancient Gear Golem, because it doesn't say ignoring its summoning conditions, so that's always kind of sucked. I really don't know why they have the stipulation on him that he can't be special summoned, but the card you go right along with that is Ancient Gear Catapult. So Catapult says that you can target, while you control the monsters, I believe, you can target a face-up card you control and pop it, and then special summon Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So basically, this is the combo. You just play Gear Town, play Ancient Gear Catapult, blow up your Gear Town, and then you just get to summon any 2 Ancient Gear monsters that you want. There's a handful, more than probably 2 dozen possibilities you could go into off of that because there's so many Ancient Gear monsters. Some people always love to go into Hunting Hound and then they fuse off of that. Me personally, I have plenty of chances to fuse. That's not it. I mean, I would rather go into 2 big beat sticks and possibly go into a rank 9 play. It's a little more powerful. And then this has another effect that says you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a face-up card in the field, destroy it, and if you do special summon an Ancient Gear token. That play has happened maybe once in a year and a half since I've been playing the deck. If you don't kill your opponent the same turn you play Ancient Gear Catapult, you probably lost. That's basically what it comes down to. You don't really go into grind games with Ancient Gears. You either win or they just lock you out and they OTK'd you. It's usually one or the other. 3 terraforming. You need to see your Gear Town. I generally am not a terraforming guy to run 37 cards in a deck, but you need to see Gear Town. It's that simple. It you don't see it, half of your strategy is kind of gone. 3 Power Bond. I don't see many Ancient Gear players play Power Bond. I don't get it. I think a lot of them are probably stupid because the main fusion monster that takes 4 Ancient Gears, He says that he's unaffected by spell and trap effects, and I feel like some people misunderstand that, and they think that Power Bond somehow his attack wouldn't get doubled. This card clearly states that the original attack of the monster you play becomes double its attack. So when he comes out, he's at 9,000. That's his original attack now. That doesn't affect the card. It affects the card that gets brought out of the extra deck. It's not affecting him on the field. So, yeah, Power Bond is great. I don't have problems with this card. If you're going to be running a machine deck that requires fusion, you need to be playing Power Bond. It's that simple. And next, I play 3 Fusion Conscription. This card literally just searches out your Ancient Gear Golem. Like I said, your best fusions need Ancient Gear Golem, so this card just searches it out. You can't summon Ancient Gear Golem that turn that you play this card, and you can't use its effects. That really doesn't matter because you're not ever summoning Ancient Gear Golem like that, so this card's just kind of a free search, thins out the deck. 1 Ancient Gear Fusion. Ancient Gear Fusion says if you control Ancient Gear Golem, you can fusion using monsters from your deck as material. If not, it's a regular polymerization. But 1 is just fine. This card is like $20 still. It's like ridiculous that it's worth that much, but you really only need 1 because you have multiple ways of search it. You have Wyvern to search it, and you have Frame to search it, and you have things to search both of those. So I really don't think more than 1 is necessary. You're almost never going to have Ancient Gear Golem on your field unless you do the pop with Gear Town and the Catapult. So that affected dump is cool, but you're probably never going to get it. 1 Overload Fusion. Your boss fusion monster is a dark. They did that on purpose just so you could play Overload Fusion. I apologize for this being a crappy super rare, but I'm out of ultis, so they're in another deck. So Overload Fusion, I think 1 of is just fine because that happens. Well, that happens a lot where you'll just have like you'll get done doing some plays and your opponent will be like, "Hey, negate, destroy that," or whatever, and you're just like, "Okay, cool, Overload Fusion." Just 4 Ancient Gear monsters out of your graveyard is not that hard to do. 1 Twin Twisters. This obviously is great in here because you could clear back row that possibly could stop your plays, and you can also pop your own Gear Town. That's fantastic as well. And then lastly, 1 Limiter Removal. It's a machine deck. You're trying to OTK your opponent. Once again, I've heard people say like Limiter Removal is not consistent. There's times you wouldn't want to be able to use it. What are you trying to do in this deck? Unless you're not trying to attack to win, which I don't understand how you're doing that. You need to attack to win in this deck. Therefore, you probably need Limiter Removal because you need to get as much damage as possible with the attacks you're able to produce. Real quick, cards I don't play in here. I don't play the Ancient Gear Fortress or whatever that came out of the structure deck. The problem with that card is that if it's destroyed by card effect, which is fine because that's what you're trying to do with Catapult, gives you more options, you only are allowed to special summon Ancient Gear monsters from the hand or your graveyard. Well, let's be honest. Most of the time you're starting out, you're not, because with the Catapult you have to control the monsters. You're not going to have anything in your graveyard yet because you haven't done anything yet. And anything out of your hand, you don't really want to see those big beaters in your hand. So I don't think that's that great of a card. It says your opponent can't react to Ancient Gear monsters when they're summoned. Well, you're not going to be summoning anything if that card's out in the field instead of the cards you need. So I don't really see it as that big of a nice thing. So onto the extra deck. I play 1 Ancient Gear Howitzer. I've seen so many deck profiles of people playing this card at 3. If you're summoning multiple copies of this card, you're probably going to lose because this card doesn't do enough for you. So basically what it does is it takes 2 Ancient Gear monsters. Once per turn, you can burn your opponent for 1,000 damage. That's cool. This card's unaffected by card effects. Once again, that's also cool. Problem is he only has 1,000 attack and 1,800 defense, so even if you stick him in defense, they're probably going to be able to get over it pretty quick. And then if he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summon conditions. That's really cool. Don't get me wrong. That's a really nice ability. But you're not going to be able to kill your opponent with this card. Therefore, when you have so many other fusion options, I don't know why you need more than 1 copy of this card. I really don't. 1 Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. So Megaton Golem, I think he's really important. The fact that they gave us this, it's any 3 Ancient Gear monsters, and then if you used for every Ancient Gear Golem or Ultimate Pound that you used in this fusion, he gains an additional attack. And then let's see, what else does he have? If he would leave the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem from an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, ignoring summon conditions. That's nice. If he attacks, your opponent can activate spells or traps, the typical Ancient Gear thing. So yeah, he's a really good card because he can give you extra attacks if you have the whole play. Basically, the only way you're going to use more than 1 Ancient Gear Golem is if you use him, if you fuse him using Ancient Gear Fusion. is the main way you're going to be able to attack more than once. He is also a level 9, so don't forget that because you do play some rank 9 plays, so that's important. One Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, that card referenced it. If that card left the field because of card effect, you special summon this. This card says, I believe it's just destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon Ancient Gear Golem from your graveyard, because this takes Ancient Gear Golem and 2 other Ancient Gear monsters. This is what we're using Fusion Conscription off of to search Ancient Gear Golem. I remember I traded for this card. I pulled a Judgment Dragon out of Liar Destruction, and this is one of the many cards that I traded for. I think I got like 12 cards for that one Judgment Dragon. They were all hollow, expensive stuff. This was one of them because I just loved Ancient Gear Golems or Ancient Gears, and I thought this card was fucking awesome. So he has Piercing, and yeah, and then the other effect is just your opponent can't activate spells and traps, that kind of stuff. But if you powerbomb this card out or limit removal, that's 8,800 damage with Piercing. This card is not hard to make at all. It's just 3 Ancient Gear monsters. One of them has to be Ancient Gear Golem. That's not hard to do. 2 of the main boss guy, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. So you can get this out with Overload Fusion. He takes 4 Ancient Gear monsters, or you can just fuse it out the regular way. So this card is ridiculous. This is like, people think the dinosaur boss monster is ridiculous. This card I think takes the cake because it's a machine. Because of all the things you can do with it. It can attack every monster your opponent controls. It has Piercing, and your opponent can't act. What is it? It's unaffected by. This card is unaffected by spells and traps. Yeah, and they can't activate monster effects during the battle phase. This card is ridiculous. Like, you can literally just like win a game off this card alone. I don't. When you're not playing the fusion build and you're playing the just big beater build, I just don't get it. This card is like way better. Now for the XYZs. So play 1 Tornado Dragon because you can easily go into rank, like a lot of these are going to be rank 4s, and being able to blow up back row not only to benefit you to get your plays off, but to blow up your own back row, blow up Gear Town. That's basically the main thing. I don't remember if Tornado Dragon's still cheap, if it's because it's been reprinted. If it's not, you can always play the Cook or Crooked Cook or whatever. He can blow up your own spell or traps, and he's just a generic rank 4, so that's something you could do. 1 number 27 Battleship Dreadnought. So basically, because this is a machine deck and you're playing you have some abilities to go into rank 10s because the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant was a level 10. There's some things you can do in there. I play this guy. Rank 4s are really easy, so if you kill something in battle, it'd be a nice option to have to summon out some things. 1 Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. This card, you just detach and target a machine that you control, and then it gets to attack your opponent directly, but no other cards can attack. If you summon out a big guy, you powerbomb for a big guy or whatever, and then just like use this effect, you could like attack him, get attacked directly. He's also just a 2200 that can attack directly using his own effect, so that's actually pretty good. He does take 2 level 4 machines to use, but in this deck that's not hard. And then if he also is destroyed by an opponent's card or leaves the field, you can add a level 4 machine from your deck to your hand. So he has some little extra effects. 1 Geared Gigant X. This card you could detach to search a level 4 machine. So you can search Ancient Gear box with this and then get another search off it, so it kind of just gives you a plus. Rank 9s, 1 Phantom Fortress. So like I said, the only way you're really getting this out is if you summon both Reactor Dragons out with the combo. This card can just like steal cards from your opponent's hand or whatever. That's basically all he's good for. 1 True King of all Calamities. This is mainly the card you would go into to stun your opponent if you got that play. He just shuts off your opponent's monsters for the whole turn. His card's ridiculous if you can get it. The rank 10s, 1 Rail Cannon Gustav Max, because if you can make a rank 10, this is the best one to do. Detach to burn your opponent for 2,000. The other train, number 81, he can be unaffected by shit. He's got 4,000 defense. Sky Palace, he can, I think it's if he doesn't attack or something like that, you can detach to target a face-up card in the field, blow it up, and inflict 1,000 damage. He can just kind of do more damage if that's something you want to do. This guy, basically the only way you're getting this guy out is if you do the Dreadnought play. He's a Harpy's Feather Duster, and then your opponent can't react to the Harpy's Feather Duster is basically what he's doing. And he's 5,000, that's really nice. And lastly, you got to play a token because you are playing the Catapult, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Ancient Gears is pretty fun. To be honest, though, I haven't played it in a while just because, I don't know, like I've been busy doing some other decks, so I probably need to brush up and actually get to playing it again, and I might make more changes to it, but yeah, that's it for the Ancient Gear deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought, tell us what we need to improve on with our videos, and we'll keep it coming with more content. We'll try to diversify our content and bring you guys some different things to look at. But yeah, that's it for us. Have a good day.